We're going to rank the rookies drafted in the first round of last night's draft for Dynasty Fantasy Football. We're going to talk strategy. We're going to talk rookie drafts. We're going to see how these players should be valued, and we're going to put them into tiers. But before we do all that, you need to click that subscribe button right now because we're going to set you straight for your rookie drafts. We're going to rank the rookie wide receivers next. That video is going to come out here in a few minutes, so stay tuned for that. We're going to do rankings with rounds 2 and 3 in it, so you have it. Then we're going to do rankings right after the draft. Everything's going to be prompt, so you're ready for your rookie drafts. Click that button. Stop missing out. But we're ranking with the tier maker. We're putting these players into tiers. And first player off the board in most Superflex drafts right now is Caleb Williams. Talking about Caleb Williams, he is locked in there the whole time. And I have things tiered off, S1 and S2, because I believe when it comes to Marvin Harrison and even Malik Neighbors, that if you want to pivot, if you're worried about Caleb Williams and you really love Marvin Harrison Jr., just make the pick. Just do what you want. And I believe that. If you really want Malik Neighbors, make the pick. I have them garnered as generational prospects, wide receivers that do not come out every year, and they make this draft class very tricky because there's a lot of good wide receivers in this class. But these are two wide receivers that you do not see every year coming out for the draft. And if you really want them, go get them. If you really want them. Caleb Williams, chalk pick for Superflex 101. That is what he is. If you want to go against it, this is not a bad grain to cut. It's not a bad grain to cut. That being said, we got to move on here and talk about some players because now things are starting to get interesting because the quarterbacks are coming off the board, and we're talking about Superflex here. Jayden, Damiels, Drake, Maye. When we look at these guys coming off the board, it's hard not to push them up because this is where they were at the whole time. And the fact that the Commanders and Patriots were in the building the whole time, you cannot just push them down randomly. This is where they were at in ADP, and Malik Neighbors was just mixed in with them. I kind of like Malik Neighbors better than them, but it really depends on how your league works in Superflex. Like if you're in a Superflex league where quarterbacks are held over a barrel, there's no quarterbacks on waivers. If your quarterback gets hurt, your SOL, your season's done. If you got to get a mid quarterback, a quarterback 15 range or so, and you got a mortgage for that, then guess what? You're drafting them. If quarterbacks are very fluid in your market, they're moving around because I'm in leagues that will do that. I've seen it. And you may want to go with the player you want. You may want to go with a Malik Neighbors or one of the other wide receivers like a Rome Odunze. So it really depends on your league, how things are structured. Some people are going to say, hey, quarterbacks first, always and forever. Some people are like, hey, I'm going to take that wide receiver. And I'll catch it in the comments because I've been doing this for years. I know how it works. There's a wild card now. There's a huge wild card. JJ McCarthy. JJ McCarthy drafted in the top 10. But we're getting Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. We're getting Hawkinson. We got some running backs. We got it. We got an offense. We got an offense we're playing indoors. If he hits, he's going to hit quick. You're going to know quick. You're not going to be holding him for sunk costs. You're not going to be waiting for him to develop. If he's the truth, he's going to hit quick. Because look what he has at his disposal there. If he's going to hit, he's going to hit quick. Let's say if he does hit to 80% of his potential, not towards the buzz of draft media, he could still give you something in Superflex. He does have a good floor to him, but the floor to all quarterbacks is busting hard. Pause. Busting hard. That is the floor for any player, but especially for the quarterback position. Hardest position in sports to evaluate. He does have some pieces there. His stock is through the roof. You got some things to look at. However, when we look at these players now, we got a wild card here, Rome Odunze. He's paired with this guy. Think about these two together. How much do you like Rome Odunze coming out for the draft? Because I had him in his own tier with the wide receivers right behind these guys. I do not have him far off. Usually in drafts, it was the quarterbacks coming off the board. Rome Odunze, McCarthy was around here. But I've been saying he's going to get pumped up in the rankings Once we figure out he's a first-round pick, once it's true, because you could also see a player like that getting a lot of buzz and falling down. JJ McCarthy versus Rome Odunze, are you going to play that game, or are you going to go with the quarterback? That's the thing. JJ McCarthy versus Drake Maye or Jayden Daniels. McCarthy is in a better situation. If he's going to hit, he's going to hit quick. You're going to know quick. Drake Maye, Jayden Daniels, they are better prospects. They have more upside, more productive. His situation, though, and it's the quarterback position. It's a wild card position. Don't act like you're almighty with the quarterback position and how you evaluate quarterbacks. Just don't play that game. I'm okay, but I'll tell you the truth. Quarterback's a wild card position. Why can't he be up here with these guys? Think that through. But Rome Odunze, you don't want to sleep on him. But we got to enter the discussion of Xavier Worthy. The value's going to jump the shark here. And I talk about that Kansas City Chief privilege. He's going to get that. We saw Twitter light up. I made my video on him, talking him up, and I said Twitter was going to light up, and then I checked it. It was lighting up. It was lighting up. And the market's going to be hot for him. And the thing is, he's going to hold value for a long time, too. Say he doesn't hit during his rookie season, he's going to hold that value. Sky Moore's still holding some value, like a trickle of life. Like, in the back half of startup drafts, you're still seeing people click that button because of the Kansas City Chiefs privilege. Even with Worthy being drafted, you're still going to see that. JJ McCarthy's kind of like in the mix of these players. Rome Odunze, talent-wise, I like him better than Worthy, but you're also seeing the Chiefs privilege here. Going down here to the next set of players, Brian Thomas Jr. I just don't feel right putting him in this tier. And I know that we're going to go Odunze and Worthy ahead of him. McCarthy, the quarterback spot, tier C. But I think he's in a great spot with Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is going to feed him downfield. And he's a guy that can get right downfield. Quick release package, good hands. If he can tap into that upside, if Trevor Lawrence can get right, this could be a great marriage. Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr., this could be a great marriage. But then you're also looking at Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers going to the Raiders. Were you expecting that? Were you expecting him to go to Las Vegas after them drafting Michael Mayer and him falling to the Raiders? I did not see him going in any mock drafts to the Raiders. People were not forecasting that. But now he's going there. A lot of people are down on it, but it is the tight end position. Tight ends are very fluid. They take time to develop. You got to be patient with them. With this draft, you can pivot off him if you want and wait and buy him at a cheaper cost if he does need a ramp up for production. Or considering he got top tier draft capital, size adjusted athleticism for days and that speed, maybe he hits quick. Are you pulling the trigger now? Or if you like him, are you drafting like a Brian Thomas, Xavier Worthy, somebody else down here? Maybe the running back that gets drafted first tonight over him. And you're making plans of buying him later in September, October at a reduced cost. Hopefully a reduced cost. Whoever drafts them, though, might hold him with a vice grip. Maybe remember the quarterback position here is very dicey. If you like Brock Bowers and you like some other players, remember that for strategy. Maybe you go after him. Maybe you split your shares. You draft a little bit now and you trade for more later at a reduced cost if it happens. Maybe you do that. But Brock Bowers, there's a lot of strategy here. Because the short term, the right now, does not seem forecastable for big-time production. One, he's a tight end. He's going to an iffy quarterback spot. But I could definitely see him being the target hog there here in a few years. That could happen. He's got the upside for that. He's a guy I'm looking at really hard. You're playing strategy with him. Next is Tier D. Tier D is how you play the quarterback position. We're going to throw the jabroni quarterbacks up there. Bo Nix. Bo freaking Nix. And I think you just got to value him in Will Levis territory of last year's draft. Back in first round, early second round, someone's going to pull that trigger. And like I said earlier when I was talking about these quarterbacks, it's really how your league values quarterbacks. If they're held on with a vice grip, you can't trade for them. You got to shoot your shot. You got to shoot your shot. Michael Penix, that's a weird one. That's a weird one. You can put him down here if you want. But if you're in desperate need of a quarterback, you may want to have him up here. We do know Kirk Cousins is going to be the guy. Also, he's come back from an Achilles. That might be an indictment of that injury. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe not. We don't know. We got to play ignorant to that. But they spent the 8th overall pick on a quarterback here. First rounder. We weren't projecting that. He's a guy you might be able to buy on the cheap later. Maybe. Maybe. But if you're really hurting, you may want to think about that. Rankings-wise, I'll keep down here. Then we got Ricky Pearsall. Surprise pick in the first round going to the 49ers. And I'm just going to slide him here real quick. That's not a rank, but I want to talk about him because I like him. He's one of my guys. I said that, but I also want to preface this. This situation's weird right now. We got to watch Brandon Ayuk. We're not drafting right now. Some people are. We'll be drafting on Sunday. Pay attention to what happens to him. Well, we don't have to. It's going to be right in front of our face. But pay attention to that. Pay attention to the volume in the offense. I think I like him better for an NFL team than for fantasy, but I also see him tapping into some fantasy production if things go his way. And it all goes according to value. When I think about him ranked among the players, I have him down a little bit, but it's really going to where he was prior to the draft, even with the first round draft capital. On top of that, when you listen to the market on Twitter, a lot of people don't like the pick. A lot of people do not like the production. But now you're going to catch a first round wide receiver, second round price tag, and rookie drafts. So you're catching a first round wide receiver with probably a 50 to 60% hit rate, maybe around 55%-ish. I'm just throwing numbers out there, but just from working spreadsheets over the years, that's probably close to correct. That means you're going to be drafting him at a spot where there's around a 10 to 15% hit rate. That's considered a good value, and it's really not Ricky Pearsall versus these guys. It's Ricky Pearsall versus the running backs on round 2. The wide receivers in rounds 2 and 3 are also going to be battling him in position for rookie draft ADP. And some of them are going to jump him like a Troy Franklin. Some of them are going to jump him a good bit. But you're going to catch him at a reduced cost. And some of those wide receivers I'm going to have ranked ahead of him when everything's said and done. I'm going to slide him here to E. But he's a player we're watching. It's almost the same thing with Xavier Leggett. It's almost the same thing. The market's going to cool him down a little bit, especially if you read the tea leaves on Twitter, and you might catch him at a reduced cost. You're not paying a first-round pick for him. No way. No way. And it's Xavier Leggett versus the running backs that's going to run up the board in round 2 of your rookie draft. Once that goes, and you're looking at Leggett, and you're looking at a first-round wide receiver, and now you're in part of the draft, you got 10-15% hit rate, you got a first-round wide receiver you're looking at with Bryce Young and company that's trying to turn things around. The odds of him hitting, it's scary, but really look at him as a player. He's very volatile. His upside is tremendous. His downside isn't too great. And I can't tell you that he's going to be a player who's going to be in between. I can't say that. I think the odds are more likely he's either going to be feast or famine. And if that scares you, you may want to go with someone else. I just do not see him hanging around the league as a wide receiver 30 guy. I see him hanging around the league as a top guy, a guy that's really surprising us, or not in the league at all, barely on a roster. That's what I see with this guy. It's either feast or famine. How do you want to play the game? And where do you want to pay that at? Late part of the second round? Middle of the second round? It's him versus the running back run. It's that running back run in the second round that we're looking at these wide receivers with. There's also going to be a run of wide receivers tonight. That run of wide receivers, 2 or 3 of them, are definitely going to be ahead of him, even though he got drafted in the first round. Maybe more, maybe 5. Maybe. But that's what we're looking at here. That's what I got. Michael Penix. If your quarterbacks are tight in Superflex to where you can't make deals, you may have to pull that trigger up around here. You may have to. You may be pulling a second-round pick on him. Same thing with Bo Nix. It may be even like the 111, 112. You might want to punch yourself in the face. You may have to due to strategy. However, if you're good at quarterback, then you're looking at the other wide receivers and running backs, and you're playing that game. But I'm not valuing these guys too high. Remember, there's going to be 2 rounds tonight. Those players are going up to here and maybe flirting with here. If someone catches Chiefs or Dolphins privilege or something like that, like Xavier Worthy did. But those are the rankings for right now. We're going to be ranking more today just for wide receivers. Then we're going to rank rounds 2 and 3 tonight. Going into tomorrow, I'll have that out for you. And then after the draft, we're doing more rankings. That way you're good to go for your rookie drafts. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.